All right, welcome everybody.
Who's taller?
You're going to have to sit up straighter.
Yeah, I'm a hunching.
Okay, I'll slouch. How's that? Oh, man. Let's say welcome everybody.
Yes. Hello, welcome. We're podcasting here on our own.
Yes.
In our shop, River City Yarns, on one of the last days that we're going to be open.
Yeah.
It's a Saturday today when we're filming. And we're back in our back corner that we've filled up with all the samples in our store because some of our walls are kind of bare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you hear the echo? Echo?
Yeah, it's been wonderful in a lot of ways because we've been hearing from customers, friends, and community members who've been telling us, well, for those of you who don't know, we're closing our retail shop.
We ran a retail yarn shop in Edmonton, two of them actually, for over 22 years. And so it's kind of bittersweet saying goodbye and to yarn. You know, it's not, we're still going to be here.
Absolutely. And we're going to tell you about all the great things that are happening. But today we're sort of celebrating the end of broadcasting from our retail location because next month we'll be coming to you from an undisclosed location. We're going to show you some...
Could be the basement of our houses.
No, it's definitely not going to be the basement of our house, but we're going to get out and about and we're going to show you some of the wonderful things that are in our local community that we want to share with you. So stay posted for that.
Yeah.
Do you know, Barb, what episode number this is?
I'm going to say 77.
Okay, let's go with that. And this is Podcast On, brought to you from Barb and Cynthia in Edmonton, Alberta.
I'd look it up, but my phone is actually on a stand filming us.
I'll look it up later.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Oh, man. So, yes. So, how are you feeling about this next, segment in our journey?
Yeah. I think, it is bittersweet because we're getting a lot of people coming in and saying, we're going to miss you.
Yeah.
And it's actually it's sad, but it feels really good because it means we have made, a contribution to the community, I feel.
Yeah.
Right? One of the things about having a retail yarn shop, I think you said this, was that, you have an opportunity to really impact your community. And it feels so good for that reason, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. You get a little emotional about it. I said to somebody the other day, it's kind of like having a retirement party, like all the attention is on you and people are saying really lovely things and you want to be, you want to be grateful, you want to be humble, because that's how that's how we feel about it, right?
Yeah.
We're very grateful and I don't feel like we've done anything particularly special, and yet people are telling us that we've done some very special things, and so that's wonderful, and we're really happy about that, and looking forward to this next segment of our journey, in which we're going to go out and continue with workshops and make-alongs, and we're going to do more of the design work that we just haven't had time to do. And so I think this is really exciting.
Very exciting.
Yeah. So let's talk about that.
Sure.
Let's talk about some design work.
Okay. Why don't we start with your design?
Okay.
Because we talked a little bit about it last time, but now you've got dates and things. Hopefully.
Oh, whoops. Well, the good news is that I can post the dates on the website. So by the time you're watching this, we'll have dates. So let's, sure, I'd love to. So last time we talked about the colorwork cowl. And this was a cowl pattern that I had done some design work on. This was the one that I did in a workshop with Mary J. Mucklestone and using Malabrigo Rios leftovers. And then I reinterpreted it in Eden.
Yes.
And
Cynthia, so many people bought Eden kits. We were sold out in like a day or two.
Yeah.
And so I know that a lot of you have these kits out there and you're just waiting for an opportunity to get them cracked open and on the needles.
In fact, our friend Lori Matthews sent me her picture of her completed cowl. She said she started it one night and then she couldn't stop. She just stayed up until she finished it because it's addictive.
It's truly addictive. Honestly, yes. Yeah. That's absolutely true. I just want to show how beautiful the inside of this is. Look at this. It's almost as pretty as the outside.
I know. Well, and here's where I have to give credit to Mary Jane Mucklestone because that was for me, that was the objective of the class. I already knew how to do stranded color work.
Yes.
But what I wanted to do was learn to do it better.
Color work better, right? Yes. You know, this is the whole thing that I'm so excited about is that we can become much better knitters.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not too old to learn new things.
That's right. This old dog learned a new trick, which was not to catch up the floats so obsessively as I was doing before. And I think it just makes for a better color work pattern. So this is the cowl. And we put this out with a kit, and at the same time I started to work on a set. So this is now called the FairIsle Sampler Set. And the pattern will include the cowl and a hat.
Oh, that's cute. That's really cute.
Yeah, so this hat matches that cowl.
Yeah.
And then mittens.
Ooh, show us the back of that hat, Cynthia. That's so cute.
Tell you what, let's do a little close-up shot in a bit, and we'll
it's working really well.
A 360.
You just need to turn to the side. Yeah, that's perfect. Look at that. Oh wow.
And then mittens as well. So
I love those mittens. Look at that.
I have to tell you the story of the mittens. So I'm working now on some samples that just use 2 colors. So I've got so let me just show you this first. I'm test knitting the pattern.
I teased her about her plastic bag that she has.
So I'm doing the child size hat right now, and just in 2 colors. So the main color is Eden in a variegated colorway. This is Odd One Out, and then the
black and gray with pink shots of pink.
And then the design color, the contrast color, is Winter. So just semi-solid, sort of pinky cream tone.
With little bits of gray in it.
Because I thought it would be nice to have some samples to show you in case you only had 2 skeins of Eden. And so if you have 2 skeins of Eden and you want to make this set, you know, how much yarn do you need and what would it look like if you didn't have 3 colors as contrast colors? So I'm working on that, and I'm having a lot of fun with this because I don't have to weave in so many ends. That's
that's true.
But while I was working on, I'll leave that on. While I was working on that cowl that's in your hands there, I thought I'll make a pair of mittens, and I started by doing the color work around the hand of the mitten, just like to match the cowl
in stripes.
Well, I started doing the actual color work pattern.
Oh, okay.
But it was so difficult to fit it onto a mitten, and then to calculate where to put it for different sizes. And so I thought, I'll just do stripes. That'll be pretty and it'll be easier. But you know what? I don't like the stripes either. And that's because when you make mittens, they look one way when they're folded in a package or on the table. They look another way when they're on your hands because your thumbs torque the mittens to one side, and where the color joins are inevitably
comes up onto your hand.
Yeah, you see them. And so I thought there's got to be a better way to do this. You know, the stranding it's trickier when you're working with a small circumference. The stripes, I don't want to bother with jogless stripes. That's just too much work. And so what I did with these ones is I just made a plain mitten. And then on this one, I ran out of yarn. I mean, you're going to run out of yarn. So I finished it off in the contrasting color. And then I duplicate stitched on top. And the beauty of duplicate stitch is that before I put it on, I put the mitten on my hand, and I wiggled it around like this, and then I took a stitch marker and I put it in the center. And then I duplicate stitched around it so that when you take the mitten off and you fold it flat, the pattern isn't exactly in the center. But when you put it on and you wear it, presto change out, the pattern's right in the center. So I feel like duplicate stitch is the way to go. And I feel like duplicate stitch is an important skill for a FairIsle sampler.
Yeah.
Because what do we do in FairIsle when we want to add a third color?
Or make a mistake.
Right? We use duplicate stitch.
Yeah.
So the pattern set includes the pattern for the cowl, the pattern for the hat, and the pattern for the mittens.
Oh, in different sizes too?
So the cowl,
Holy.
the cowl's written for one size. You just, if you want to make it smaller, you reduce it by 10 stitches. There's no,
If you want to make it bigger, you add 10?
Exactly.
Okay.
And for the hat, I've got 4 sizes. They're all designed to work on a 16-inch needle. So the smallest size is 18 inches around.
Oh,
to fit a head that's 18 inches around. Actually, more like a kid size.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you fit Rachel or Hayden. If you want to make it smaller, you'll have to work the hat on a smaller needle, so like DPNs or something like that. But I've included instructions for how you could make it smaller. I just wanted all the sizes to fit on a 16-inch circular needle.
I see.
For ease. And then the mittens will be in 4 sizes as well. So you can have a kid's mitten, a child's mitten, a kid's mitten, a lady's, a woman's hand, or about a 7.5-inch hand, and about an 8.5-inch hand if you want to make them for larger hands. So that's what's coming out, and then we'll
all in worsted or
all in light worsted.
Light worsted.
DK. But again, if you do your swatch and you find that you're using a different yarn, you just need to knit a different size. You can. It's pretty easy to adjust. So what I would suggest is that if you want to do a swatch, make a pair of mittens first. And that'll be your swatch, your gauge swatch. And then or you could do the cowl first, because, cowls don't necessarily have to be, and they're kind of,
yeah, one size fits all. And
it's most, yeah.
If they're a little bigger, that's okay.
Yeah.
The other thing about doing a swatch on the cowl is that then you've got your gauge for color work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which you could translate to the hat.
Correct.
Cool.
Yeah. So I've been super busy with that, knitting samples and writing up the pattern instructions.
Do you have any recommendations for everybody about colors? Like, would you use high contrast like you've done here? And, or would you use like more of a blended palette? Like this one is all sort of shades of blues, right? Some are. There's
a little bit of like a taupe in there as well. This one uses more colors. So I think the idea here is that, if you only have little bits of yarn left over, you can take that little bit of yarn and run it right through the center of either of those patterns and use it at.
Right.
But yeah, I think to me, the beauty of doing stranded color work is to see it. And to see it from a distance.
Yeah.
So I like high contrast. But you don't have to. You could do it completely, you could be beautiful with a black and a gray, and then maybe just a little bit of a light gray for a pop of color. So yeah,
a lot of us have those gradient packs, that we've picked up at shows or whatever, where you might have a really dark purple and then a really, really light purple.
Right.
I think you could even mix and match if you had like a purple gradient pack and a gold.
Be gorgeous.
Wouldn't that be gorgeous? Or like this one. This one was red and blue and greens.
Right. And in this one, I didn't have
golds.
enough of any color to make main color.
Really?
And so you'll see that while there's red at the top and the bottom, behind the motifs is orange.
Oh, it looks like gold.
Or gold, yeah. So you can also change color. So if you were doing a gradient pack, you had 2 gradient packs, you could use one gradient pack as the background color, and it can change every time you change the motif.
I feel like this is a really good example too of blending colors, like, because when I always go to the color wheel when I'm thinking about color, and on the color wheel, red and orange and gold and yellow are all sort of next to each other, right? And then on the opposite end of that, you have this this blue
Right.
with orange.
Yeah.
So these are opposite to each other. And whenever you are working with colors and you can keep them all like, the same, or go across to the opposite end of the wheel.
Right.
So I think that's a real good example. You probably didn't go to your color wheel, but you knew intuitively.
I just paired them up. But again, like on this example, you can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 colors that I've used in there because I only had these little leftover balls of yarn.
Yeah.
And so the options are that you can use up all your little balls of yarn.
Yes.
Or you could use a full ball of yarn and some leftovers for the color work. Or you could use 2 full balls of yarn and just alternate the colors as you go around. And the other sort of cool thing about stranded color work is that if you wanted to use up a full ball of a different yarn, like say a worsted weight, say you had some Malabrigo Rios and some Eden, you can use them together. You can use yarns that have 2 different gauges. Try to keep one as the main color and the other one as the contrast colors, but you can do that. It's allowed and it works out nicely.
And I just have one little story to tell about that same topic. Last weekend, Diane came into the store and she had the most beautiful sweater in cocoon. Now this is an old yarn from Rowan, but it's thicker than a chunky, but it's a little thinner than a super bulky. And they don't make it anymore. And so she had run out or run down and needed just a little bit more to finish off the sleeves of her sweater. Yeah. And so we didn't have anything in that weight at all. But we did have some Rowan in brushed fleece, which happened to be the same color. You could hardly tell them apart. We twisted 2 strands together, did the test where you twist them, and it was fairly good too from a tension perspective. Right. But the color was great. And so because she was doing color work where she was stranding, we were able to get away with a much lighter yarn, with a heavier yarn, with hardly any noticeability. Right. That's cool. And most of the pattern was in cocoon. Yeah. So she was stranding the other one behind anyhow. Right, right. So she too would get this beautiful, soft, brushed fleece feeling on the inside of her sleeves. Yeah. When Barb's talking about that, we'll have a little video insert where I talk about this sweater and why that stranding is kind of a nice feature if you're using 2 different yarns. Yeah. I think you also mentioned that trick, of testing out the yarns to see if they're like, close engaged. Yeah. I think we should show everybody what that is. Sure. Because what a great trick that is. Now these are... Do you have 2 that are different? I don't, but I was thinking, do you have something that's different? You can use mine. Okay. So what Barb is talking about is this little trick that we have in the yarn store. If you're trying to figure out if, a substitutable yarn will be the same thickness as the yarn that you're using, you can make a little loop like this. So I've got my yarn, my Eden yarn looped over Barb's Adam and Eve. And then what you do, may I, is you kind of twist them a bit like this. Yeah. And then you pull them tight, and you need 3 hands for this. You run your finger over, and can you tell, Barb, which one is thinner or thicker? Right away. It's very easy to tell. There's a real bump here where they meet, and Cynthia's is thicker. Yeah. And you can even visually see it too. I like to twist them quite tight. Yeah. So that, here, now you have a feel. Oh, yeah, yeah. So you can tell. Now, let's try it again, but double strand the Adam and Eve. Okay. So if you're now, if you're saying, well, I don't have enough Eden, but I have some Adam and Eve, I have a fingering weight yarn, can I use it double? Okay, we need to label this video Tricks of the Yarn Store. Yeah, we'll have to do a tutorial video on this. I think we should do a tutorial or a class on all the tricks in the yarn store. We should definitely. So now, this one looks a little bigger right away on the Adam and Eve side because there's 4 strands to Cynthia's 2. Right. But if we give it a nice big twist. All right, you go ahead. First. Oh my gosh, it's still a little thicker on this side, but much better, much closer.
Yeah, yeah. So, maybe if you added like a lace weight to this side or a strand of mohair. So,
or just a fine, even, lace weight merino. You can get those big balls with like 800 meters of lace weight merino.
Or maybe 3 strands of this.
Or
to
3
2 strands of that.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
So it's just a little, yarn shop owners.
Let's try that.
Weaver's trick and see if.
Let's try 3 strands and just see what it feels like.
Okay. Now it'll be hard to double that over.
Right. But we're close.
So
I'll have to move my coffee. Okay?
Yeah. Well, when you double that,
I'll have 6.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
what I'm
not
saying.
good.
So let me hold on to this.
Okay.
And you twist that end.
Okay.
And I'll twist this end. We won't twist it very hard. Now see if you can tell the difference.
Yeah.
My thumb's in the way.
Yeah, put your thumb up a little bit more. Yeah, that's not
Is it
bad.
better?
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah. The real test of this would be to do a swatch.
Yeah.
Right? And to
so that's 2 of Eden, light worsted weight.
Yeah.
And 3 of fingering weight.
Right. Which would mean that if you wanted to use this single-stranded and that single-stranded, you need 1.5 plies, which might not work, but you get the idea,
you get
right?
The idea.
You're in. You're in the right ballpark, and certainly it would work for stranded color work.
And probably 2 sport would work to equate to a worsted weight.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's the thing, right? That in the worsted weight category, you have all these variabilities, right? You'll have light worsted like Eden, and you'll have Aran weight like Malabrigo. So these little tests of trying to determine whether a yarn combination will work together and be about the same gauge is kind of a good skill. And
I think we can all get really a little anal about is it exactly the same gauge? And really, the thing I want to say about color work is, does it really matter? No, because you're using those 2 yarns and one stranding behind the other one almost all the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. In fact, some of the prettiest color work projects I've seen use texture in these. So they'll take a yarn with like a tweed effect, or maybe a little bit of mohair, like Alpaca Classic was that cotton alpaca with a little brushed effect. Remember the Arnie and Carlos hat that I did with the Kid Silkays and Felted Tweed?
Yeah.
So lots of pretty combos you can get just with texture and color.
Yeah. All right. So Barb, you've been designing as well.
Oh, yes, yes.
Show us what you've got. I'll move my stuff out of the way here.
Well, I had this designed quite a while ago. This was a free pattern that we published on our website. And it was just a way to do stripes in a way that didn't have any jogs in the round. Now, the class I taught also did stripes flat, too.
Yes.
But this was a project that I did after the workshop because I fell in love with stripes. And this one here is another one. So this is a way of doing a cowl in the round with stripes, 1 row stripes, and have them without any jogs. So we can even turn it around. And this is 2 different yarns. One is a fairly smooth cashmere tape yarn from Rowan. Cashmere Chunky, I think it's called. And that's the taupe sort of color. And the other one was 2 or 3 strands of Kid Silkays and or Felted Tweed held together. I started out with sort of dark shades and then switched them up. And again, these were leftover balls. And so I switched them up and used lighter shades, just as a fun sort of warm winter cowl.
Right.
It's got a rolled edge. So it's super easy. It just rolls up on its own. You don't have to do any sort of ribbing or anything. I wanted to get right into the striping effect. And these, again, double or triple held strands of yarn. Great stash buster.
So what do you call this kind of striping?
Well, some people call it helical.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one row of stripes in the round, but you don't have to, worry about. Sometimes when you're doing stripes, right, you end up with this little jog in your knitting where you're carrying the yarn up.
Well, and you showed us your striped mitten where it showed up really clearly. Yeah. And this doesn't have that. They're jogged so that it's kind of like a spiral. It keeps going up like this, and when you're doing it in the round, and so there's no beginning and no end.
Right.
You're just always working with 2 yarns, and when you stop knitting with one, you pick up the other one, and you just keep going.
Yeah, that's really
just
cool.
keep spiraling up. So it's very fun. And some people don't know about it as a method of a jogless stripe, so that's why we do this little workshop.
Yeah. And so you've got a couple of cowls here.
Yeah, I couldn't stop. And then so I started doing a hat. This one.
This one's fun.
Yeah, this one has a little bit of knit to purl to rib on the bottom. And then what I did was I carried on with the same sort of navy color. And I picked up a really pretty pinky coral color from my stash, and I started knitting 1 row stripes. And then just popped a little pom-pom on the end. And this is a fun little hat. So I've got the cowl and the hat pattern in a combo.
Right.
That you can get.
Right. So we're going to release that pattern a little bit later.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I can work on it this weekend.
All right.
So maybe by the time this airs, that pattern will be available.
Perfect. That's
and this just comes in one size, I think.
Oh, wow.
Oh, well, maybe not.
Maybe it'll take a little bit longer than this weekend to develop the pattern.
Maybe. Yeah.
All right, that's perfect. Thanks, Barb. And then I have to say, the addition of that kid silk haze or whatever fuzzy stuff you put in there makes these cowls and hats super soft.
Yeah,
they're really nice. And I guess the other advantage of this too, Barb, is that if you have a couple of oddballs kicking around in your stash and you don't know what to do with them, and neither one of them is enough for a project,
right?
By putting them together, you'll get enough for a hat or a cowl, or possibly both, right?
Yeah. And these ones are knit on like a 6 millimeter too.
Right.
So they're a little, the yarn's a little thicker, yet the fabric is really still pretty drapey.
Right. Nice and fast. I finished my sweater, Barb. This is my Ann Budd top-down yoke sweater that I did during Ann's class.
Ta-da!
Yeah, so what a great time I had with this. The body, the navy color here is Rowan Felted Tweed. And then I used Sock NATO from Ancient Arts. It was a special Yarnicorn colorway that we did with Carolyn and Dan from Ancient Arts called Grateful. And I also put a little bit of the pattern detail on the sleeves. And you know what's so cool about this? Like the Valley Tweed it's a little toothy, which makes it perfect for color work. But when you do stranded color work on the inside, guess what happens? It's like you get this beautiful layer of merino wool on the inside that just creates a nice little cozy gauntlet here on the sleeves, and of course makes the chest nice and soft and cozy. I'm just wearing a t-shirt underneath, so I've got this wonderful, comforting Rowan Felted Tweed right next to my bare skin on my arms, and it feels amazing.
Tell us about the pattern.
Well, in Ann's class, you get to decide what pattern you want to make. So I charted out a little, it was supposed to be like a ray of sun. I thought, it'd be like the sun all around my shoulders. Kind of looks maybe a bit more like fiddleheads. And then because I don't like to catch up the floats in between, because you get a little bit of a color change on your sweater, I put in little dots of color in between so it's quite busy, and I'm not sure now whether I'm going to call it ray of sun like I thought I would, or if I'm going to call it fiddlehead magic or whatever.
It has with the gauntlet sleeves, it has sort of a medieval
Yeah.
vintage kind of look. So I love it.
Yeah, well, I feel like they're matador sleeves. You know how the matadors have like a pattern on it? So anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have lots of yarn left over of this one, so I think maybe I'll make myself a matching, I don't know, hat and mitt set to go along with it. But
can we see the back too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
It looks amazing from the back too when you hold your arms out.
Oh yeah.
Because you get to see the back of the gauntlet. Let me just. I should take a picture of you.
Yeah.
So you can put it on Ravelry. Oh, that's beautiful, Cynthia. Can I just get I'm just going to come in and closer and get a detail for everybody. Oh, wow. That's so pretty. Yeah. Looks like waterfalls, actually.
Thanks, Barb.
Okay.
So I wanted to change my sweater just so I could show you my hair. You know, in sort of celebration of closing the store, I went to my favorite hairstylist and I asked her to dye my hair again in the hyacinth colorway from our Adam and Eve and Eden lines.
What a nice memento.
So, yeah. So I've got the deep
purple
purples and the blue.
The teal and the blues.
It's a little pink in there too.
Did you get any of that yarn before it was gone?
I think there might be one luxe slipper sock set left, and I might just have to buy that kit.
Yes, I think you have to.
Yeah.
Or we just have to order some from Jana.
Well, the good news is that Jana at Handmaiden is taking over the Eden and the Adam and Eve lines, and Jana has always called Adam and Eve, or I should say, Adam and Eve has been dyed on Jana's Casbah yarn base. So she has
look for it as Casbah when you go to look for it.
Yeah. And we'll again put a link to the yarn directly in the description below. So you don't have to, do any long internet searches. Everything's down there. And she has like a Casbah bulky, or not, that's the wrong word, but she has Eden as well in her yarn line.
And she calls Eden. Yeah, so same yarn as we have.
Yeah.
And Adam and Eve look for Casbah, and you'll find it there.
Exactly. So we'll be, we can't do it this month because we're still closing up our shop, but over the next couple of months, we'll be going into Ravelry and adding into all of our patterns that use Adam and Eve, we'll add in a link to Casbah. So you know that you can use that yarn as well.
And where to get it. Jana even told me, Jana has her own colorways. For Adam and Eve and Eden. So this is a really unique opportunity to now get Adam and Eve in 45 brand new colors.
Yeah.
It's just so exciting.
Yeah.
And she said she would even dye some of the specific colors that we had. If someone was doing a sweater and they needed another skein, all you had to do would send her a meter of the yarn and she'll look at it and she'll dye it.
Isn't that amazing?
Isn't that amazing?
They're such lovely people, those handmaidens. Yeah.
But she probably has a color that looks like your hair's. Was my point.
I know she does. I think it's called Mermaid. I'm pretty sure she does.
Mermaid.
So,
Isn't that a great name? Yeah.
But speaking of Mermaid, and speaking of Casbah, Jana's also doing something else that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, so we got to talk about that.
Let's do that.
Okay.
So it's kind of a teaser because we'll have more information coming out, but we always love to participate with Ann Budd on her longest day fundraiser for Alzheimer's. We've all, I think, I don't think it's a blanket statement to say we've all been touched by Alzheimer's in some way, right? Yeah. Or dementia. And it would be really good to try to participate in funding more research to try and help those who are struggling with Alzheimer's and dementia, and possibly one day prevent it altogether.
There was just recently a news announcement that they had found something to really sort of suppress Alzheimer's in the early stages. It's a brand new drug.
Okay.
And so there are sort of brand new breakthrough drugs that are helping Alzheimer's patients. And I don't think that could happen without funding and research.
Right. So on the longest day of the year, Alzheimer's reaches out to people and they say, this is a great day to fundraise for Alzheimer's research. And Ann Budd does an event and raises a phenomenal amount of money, but she needs help on the Sunday closest to the longest day of the year. So on June 18th, Anne's going to be doing her longest day fundraiser, and we're going to be participating with 7 other yarn shops in hosting a 1-hour segment of her knit along.
She's knitting from like 5 in the morning to 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, all day long.
Yeah.
And so we're going to cheer her on and knit along with her. She's published a pattern called the Fading Memories Cowl 2023. Again, link in the notes below. And for every pattern sold on her Ravelry page, she's going to donate $5 US toward her Ann Budd team for fundraising for Alzheimer's. So.
And there's prizes and there's kits that you can buy with yarn in them from all sorts of different shops that are supporting this.
Yeah.
And we have Handmaiden.
Right. So, Barb reached out to Jana at Handmaiden, asked her if she'd like to participate. And so Jana's put together this lovely combination of purple yarns. I think there are 13 or 14 colors that you can choose from.
She has one that she's recommending called Purple Passion.
Right.
And it's a blend of purple with a red undertone. And she talks about it on the website, about purple and red and, the meaning behind them. So.
Right. So the pattern, you need to buy the pattern, and your pattern purchase will donate $5 towards Alzheimer's. And then you need to buy yarn. You can go into your stash and you can use stash yarn as well. But if you would like to buy yarn, any one of Jana's yarns from her purple page she will make a contribution of $5 to the Canadian Alzheimer's Association.
Yeah.
And so we're really excited about that. We're going to be knitting with Jana's Casbah for
we're going to
this
show
project.
It in the next podcast because it hasn't quite arrived yet. So we'll show all the different colors that Jana's got.
Yeah.
And you still have lots of time. This isn't till June.
Right.
But we wanted to give you lots of advance notice.
Yeah.
I think purple's a color for Alzheimer's too, isn't it?
Yeah,
and
purple
yellow?
and blue, I think, is what Anne said. She said teal, blue, and purple were the 2 colors for Alzheimer's.
Oh.
And she's using a gradient colorway, but we're going to use, we just love the variegation and the semi-solids in Jana's Casbah, but we ordered more than 1 skein each.
Yes.
And so what I'm planning to do is to maybe wind off a bit of Barb's skein and use it in my cowl so I can create my own kind of gradient colorway. So I love to do that.
And I'm hoping that mine will stripe.
On its own?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of I think where we're going about this.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to use 2 colors. I don't know, to get my stripe. But
you might get like a really interesting color pooling that happens with it. So and there's plenty. The cowl doesn't take very much yarn.
No.
So we might even be able to get 2 cowls out of 1 skein.
Sure.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll let you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll be exciting. So more to come. Yeah. This is just kind of a little teaser about that.
Yeah. Oh, well, and at the end of this podcast episode, we have a link to an interview that we did with Ann Budd recently.
Oh, yes.
So stick right up to the end, and then a little screen will come up at the end, and you can click on it and go to the interview with Ann. We're going to make that interview accessible only to podcast viewers for 1 week, and then we'll make it into a public video.
And doesn't Ann have prizes too? Like people could donate? And for your donation on Ann's page, she's going to give away the cowls that she's working on, and we're going to send her our cowls too, right?
Well, we haven't worked that out yet.
Oh, okay.
So, because there's maybe some shipping involved in that, and we'll have to work that out. But definitely, this is in play. So, if you make a contribution of $50 or more to Ann's fundraiser, for every $50 increment that you contribute, she's going to put your name into a draw to win the cowl that she's working
Her-
on.
her cowl.
Yeah. And we offered, we'll offer, but we still have to work out the logistics and the details around that. But we're also thinking that we'll contribute a prize of a gift card.
Oh,
So there are prizes. That's the important thing. There are prizes, and you don't have to participate in the knit along to be in the prize draw. You just have to contribute to Anne's fund.
nice.
And we'll put a link to that in the description below as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, Barb, tell me what you're wearing. Your sweater looks gorgeous. I
Oh,
love
thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I picked this one today just because the color was happy and it's something that I thought was springy. This is Rowan Felted Tweed. The sweater pattern is the Soundtrack sweater by Marie Green from Olive Knits. And yeah, it's I wear it all the time. It's just a really nice kind of light. I pop it on over a t-shirt because not only am I well moisturized, I'm pretty allergic to some of the wools. And then the neckline here was done with a Noro yarn, and I'm sorry, I don't remember which one that was, but it had a little bit of cotton in it, and the color I thought was right.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, thanks. I love it. Wear it all the time.
Yeah.
And what are you wearing?
So, in order to show off my hair, I put on this light gray sweater. So it's made out of Blue Sky Fibers Woolstock. And it's a cable design by Bristol Ivy.
Wow.
I'm trying to remember the name of it, and it's failing me right now, but I will put it into the notes below.
It's so pretty. It's got cables all down the front of it.
Yeah.
And it also has sort of a saddle shoulder with cables down the arm.
Yeah.
You knit it with friends, right?
I did. My friends Maureen and Catherine, who has passed away, we did a little cable inspired knit along, and
did everybody do Brooklyn Tweed?
No.
Or sorry.
No, we didn't. We all did different
Bristol
sweaters.
Ivy?
It just had to have cables in it, and I picked one that I thought was easy. Maureen and Catherine always have more ambition and talent than I do. So I just picked one that has
Not sure about that. But, yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe more stick with it isness.
Spare time is what she really needs. They have more spare time than but that's going to change for you.
Yeah. So when it comes, I'll do stranded color work till the cows come home. But when it comes to cables,
this may be her only cabled sweater. I get it. Yeah. Oh, and when you see all those traveling cables, I mean, that is so much fun to do.
Yeah.
But you're right. In a sweater, that's a lot of commitment. So
I think maybe if we did a knit along with Fiona Ellis, I'd probably be more inclined to do it because I think I need that motivation, So maybe that's what we'll have to do is a class with Fiona and get my cable mojo going.
Yeah, I have cable mojo just for a mitten, for a cowl though.
Okay.
I don't know that I could do a whole sweater.
Right. Well,
maybe on the machine.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we've come to the end of our segment, Barb.
I think we have too. Okay. So we better sign off.
We better. Have a great month, everybody. We so appreciate your spending time with us. We love it if you leave us a comment or hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so you know when videos are coming out. That's always a plus for us as well. So thank you for being here with us. Have a great day.
See you next time. Bye.
Hey, Barb.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm really good. We're coming back into the podcast because we wanted to pick a name and award a prize. I think last time on the podcast, you said that you'd set aside a special gift for a lucky person. Do you want to tell us what the gift is and who the winner is?
Yes. Well, we painted some sock blanks, remember last summer? And we set aside 2 of them to give away as gifts. And this month, the winner is Carol Ann Gladstone.
Yay!
Yeah, you picked her name from one of the comments, right?
Yeah, I did a little random number generator and counted down, and Carol Ann won. And so, Carol Ann, all you need to do is send us an email. You can email us at info@rivercityyarns.com. We'll confirm your mailing address and get that sock blank off to you. Thanks so much.
And congratulations.
All right, take care.